I am the real daughter of the James family who was trafficked. When my biological parents found me, I was selling phone cases for $10 each at a street stall. Looking up, I met their disdainful gazes, and suddenly, a barrage of comments floated before my eyes. The villainous supporting female character has arrived. My poor, fake daughter protagonist now has one more person to bully her. Woo-woo, the female lead is so pitiful. Later on, she is either imprisoned by her obsessive stepbrother or physically and emotionally abused by the male lead, until she finally breaks down and chooses to jump off a building to end her life. There's no helping it. This is a tragic story with a bad ending. Once the female lead dies, the male lead and the second male lead will be left with nothing but heartache and regret. Exactly. Everyone just bear with it. It gets better later. The male lead and the second male lead will live the rest of their lives consumed by guilt over the female lead. I looked at the comments in confusion. Guilt, regret, what use are these things? Turning to the teary-eyed fake heiress, the man's hand was about to rest on her shoulder. I suddenly stood up and slapped his hand away. Don't touch her. My action left everyone stunned. And Mrs. James was the first to react. Anna, what are you doing? Grant is your own brother. According to the DNA report they just provided, I am indeed their daughter without a doubt. I didn't answer, my eyes fixed on Grant, instinctively shielding Sophia behind me. Meeting my gaze, Grant adjusted his cuffs as if to cover up, then flashed me a standard 8-tooth smile and began his self-introduction. Hello Anna, I'm your biological brother. My name is Grant. I ignored the hand he extended. Shouldn't a brother bring a gift when meeting his sister for the first time? Grant glanced awkwardly at our parents and cleared his throat softly. I came in a hurry and didn't prepare one. I'll make it up to you in a few days. No worries. I think the watch on your wrist looks quite nice. I've noticed Grant's watch since earlier. It looks like a Rolex or something. Seems quite expensive. Grant glanced down at it. This is a men's model. I don't mind. Before Grant could finish his sentence, I cut him off directly. Bullet comments. The supporting female character is way too greedy, asking for such an expensive watch even before entering the family. Exactly, she has such a narrow mindset. It's like a poor person suddenly getting rich and acting like they've never seen the world. Later, when she returns home, she even steals the female lead's belongings. It's really too much. Can't the author just write her off earlier? In the end, Grant still gave the watch to me. I tossed it directly into my brother Wilson's arms. Wilson had been watching us from the stall all along, and now the corners of his eyes were slightly red. Boss, if you go with them, what am I supposed to do? I disdainfully took a tissue to wipe his tears. Do what you have to do. Let's sell this batch of goods first before anything else. That watch should be quite valuable. Find a reputable second-hand shop to sell it, and make sure you don't get scammed. It should be enough to cover your mom's surgery expenses. Hearing this, Wilson cried even louder. I was startled and slapped the back of his head hard, feeling a bit awkward as I glanced around. All right, can you tone it down a little? People might think I did something to you. Hearing this, Wilson's crying gradually subsided. I pointed at the black Bentley owned by James's family. Your sister is going to enjoy a life of luxury, not die. When I make it big later, I'll come find you. Wilson held the watch I gave him with both hands. Looking like an abandoned puppy, nodding pitifully at me, I couldn't help but wipe his tears again, then stood up and walked toward James' family. Mrs. James glanced at Wilson with disdain and couldn't help saying, Anna, are you very familiar with that little punk from earlier? You're going to be a daughter of the James family from now on, so you should still be mindful of boundaries. These little punks clearly don't follow the rules. Don't let him harm you, Mr. James also nodded in agreement. Telling me not to have any further contact with these little punks in the future, I smiled and said, we're not that close. It's just that when my adoptive parents beat me until I was bleeding, it was Wilson and his mom who took me to the hospital. Otherwise, I might have died long ago. That one sentence instantly silenced the room. Mr. and Mrs. James, who had been about to say something, could only exchange awkward glances. I called everyone to get in the car together. I noticed that Sophia didn't seem to want to sit with Grant, so I took the initiative to sit in the middle of the back seat. Grant glanced at me but didn't say anything. The barrage exploded instantly. Here it comes. The female supporting character is starting to compete for favor with the female lead. I'm almost too scared to watch now. Just thinking about how the female lead gets bullied even worse later and her adoptive parents treat her poorly, my heart aches for her. It's precisely because of this that the female lead gets brainwashed by the second male lead, believing she's unworthy of love, and it's all because of the female supporting character. The female lead was only adopted by James' family from the orphanage after the supporting female character was trafficked. The tragedy of the supporting female character has nothing to do with her, so why is she blaming the female lead? Why do I feel like the supporting female character was actually helping the female lead just now? It's obvious that the female lead didn't want to sit too close to the second male lead. I think so too. Besides, the supporting female character took the watch to help her good friend's mother pay for medical treatment. Are the people upstairs blind or something? No matter what, the fact remains that she later hurt the female lead. Just wait and see how you'll try to whitewash the supporting female character's actions later. In the car, Mr. and Mrs. James asked about my adoptive parents. I raised an eyebrow, indicating that I had them sent to prison 5 years ago on charges of child trafficking and abuse. They're probably still sewing in prison now. I've known for a long time that I wasn't their biological child. After all, no one would be so cruel to their own child. The atmosphere around became awkward again, and everyone tacitly fell silent. I didn't try to please Grant as the comments suggested. Instead, I closed my eyes to rest and organize the chaotic thoughts that had been troubling me. From the barrage, I know I seem to be the cannon fodder female supporting character in this tragic B-story. The female lead is Sophia, and Grant is the obsessive male second lead. The male lead is Frank, the heir of the Green family, who is engaged to the James family. Later, Sophia will be physically and emotionally tormented by these two in the name of love. Finally couldn't bear it and jumped off the building to commit suicide. Only then did the male lead and the second male lead feel deep regret. They turned their anger toward me, who had once tripped her up and bullied her. In the plot, they tortured me in many ways, and every time they tortured me, they made me say sorry to Sophia's memorial photo. Finally, they were thrown into the sea to feed the fish. This plot is absolutely insane. Wasn't it the male lead and the second male lead who truly drove the female lead to her death? Yet they blame all the mistakes on me, trying to ease their guilt in this way. I silently decided to keep my distance from these two crazy guys in the future. Finally, I became the daughter of a wealthy family. I must find a way to make as much money as possible. As for Sophia, I have no interest in meddling in her affairs, as long as I don't bully her. The rest shouldn't be blamed on me. Right, back at James' house, Mr. and Mrs. James went off to work. They left me with Sophia. Sophia took me to the room. The room is cluttered with a lot of miscellaneous items, and all the furniture inside is old. It's clear how little importance James and his wife place on me, their biological daughter. As the comments said, they have always favored sons over daughters, believing that daughters are merely tools for exchanging family interests. Sophia stood at the door, pursed her lips, her voice filled with helplessness. Sis, don't be mad, this time was too rushed. So Mom and Dad didn't have time to tidy up your room, but I wiped everything down this morning, and Mom and Dad gave me money to help you fix things up. Whatever you like, I'll go buy it in the next few days. Sophia said all this in one breath and finally let out a sigh of relief, then rubbed the back of her head, as if worried I'd give her a slap on the back of the head like I did to Wilson. I smiled and touched the tables and chairs. They were indeed quite clean. Shrugging indifferently, I said, just buy whatever you think is best. I'm not picky, but I do like gold, the color of real gold. Seeing my smile, Sophia's eyes lit up instantly. She picked up the notebook and started writing. I thought she was making a list of things to buy later. A glance out of the corner of my eye revealed that she had also written a small line of text below. Sister likes gold. I need to work hard and save money to buy gold for her in the future. I looked at her in confusion. Is this girl perhaps a people pleaser? I've spent less than 5 hours with her in total and haven't treated her particularly well, yet she's planning to buy me gold. After writing this, Sophia hurriedly left, as if there was something very important waiting for her to do next. In the evening, James's family still prepared a lavish dinner. While eating heartily, I answered Mr. and Mrs. James's questions. After learning that I dropped out of high school in my senior year, they decided to send me to a prestigious school. I casually asked, is Sophia also at that school? One sentence, and the people at the dinner table fell silent again. I don't understand how I always manage to make them go silent. Can you not overthink so much? In the end, it was Grant who spoke up. If Anna doesn't like it, why not transfer Sophia to the 6th middle school? That way, they'll see each other less and are less likely to have conflicts. Mr. and Mrs. James nodded in agreement. The barrage can't hold back. The supporting female character is causing trouble again. No, 6 high school is the worst in the city. If the female lead goes there, she'll definitely be bullied to death. Exactly. The second male lead is taking advantage of the situation to make the female lead even more isolated and helpless, so she has no choice but to rely on him and see him as her only salvation. I'm really disgusted. James's parents get 1 slap, the second male lead gets 2 slaps, and the supporting female character gets a full-on 18 dragon subduing palms. Wait, did I say something? But it was just a casual question. How did it turn into this? Watching Mr. and Mrs. James decide to send Sophia to No. 6 high school with just a few words. I spoke up directly. Has the family gone bankrupt? Can't afford to send both daughters to a private high school anymore. Mr. and Mrs. James were taken aback and immediately denied it. How is that possible? If that's the case, Sophia and I go to the same school. There's no need to transfer her away. After saying that, I went back to eating. I looked up and met Sophia's grateful gaze. I immediately averted my gaze. I just hoped she wouldn't look at me like that. I hate that kind of look the most. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of Grant. He still wore a perfect smile, though his hand gripping the chopsticks unconsciously tightened. James's family worked efficiently. Within a few days, I was able to go to school with Sophia, not being in the same class. Sophia kept chattering nonstop from the moment we got on the car, telling me about the school's location and things to be aware of. Saying she was in the class next door and that I could always go to her if anything came up. I felt like my ears were about to grow calluses, so I had to send her away, because I had fallen behind on a lot of lessons. I didn't understand much in the previous classes. Unable to resist the drowsiness, I ended up falling asleep with my head on the desk. By the time I woke up, the class had already ended. Suddenly, a barrage of comments appeared. Ah. The female lead was dragged into the restroom and bullied by several female classmates, because the boys they liked had all written love letters to the female lead. They had long held a grudge against her. They hadn't acted on it earlier only because she was the daughter of the James family. Yeah, now that we know the female lead is adopted, she doesn't even bother pretending anymore. Right after class, she drags the female lead to the restroom. Looking at it now, the supporting female character is actually better. At least she hasn't laid a hand on the female lead so far. I watch the barrage of comments one by one, my hands unconsciously clench, and I slump back onto the desk, closing my eyes. I keep telling myself not to meddle in other people's business. I'm just a cannon fodder supporting character. If she can't stand on her own, no one can help her. I can help her this time. But what about the next time? I can't help her for a lifetime. Gradually, the sentence the girl had written in her notebook resurfaced in my mind. Her sparkling gaze, the incessant chatter in her ears, and as the barrage of comments said, her tragic future outcome. In the restroom, Sophia was cornered by several people. The leading girls slapped her. Aren't you good at playing the innocent? All the boys like you fake. I'll make you stop pretending. As she spoke, the girl kicked her in the stomach again. Sophia grunted and fell to the ground. At that moment, the bathroom door suddenly swung open. I stood frozen in the doorway. The girl with a high ponytail turned to look at me and smiled. You must be James' real daughter, right? We're going to teach this reckless girl a lesson. Want to lend a hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. I counted silently in my head. 8 people. A bit too many. Then, I slowly walked toward the tool room at the end. Pick up the mop, dip it into the dirty water from the toilet, and swing it directly at them. The dirty water splashed onto their faces, and everyone screamed and backed away. Taking advantage of the moment, I grabbed the hair of the girl who had just asked me to lend a hand, kicked the back of her knee, and forced her to kneel in front of Sophia. Apologize. My voice was icy. The other girls, coming to their senses, wanted to step forward to help, but they were all frozen in place, too scared to move, intimidated by my icy glare. What a joke. I've dealt with thugs who collect protection money at street stalls. Scaring a few high schoolers is well within my ability. The girl kneeling on the ground refused to back down. Why should I apologize to her? She's just a bitch. Slap. Before she could finish her sentence, I slapped her directly. I raised the mop in front of her. If you don't apologize, I'll shove this mop into your mouth. We locked eyes, my expression serious. With no hint of joking, the girl finally gave in, bowing my head. I said to Sophia, I'm sorry. I let go of her, and the few people who had been standing at the door quickly stepped forward to help her away. I sat down next to Sophia, watching as she searched for something on herself. What are you looking for? Disinfectant wipes. Sophia answered me. I was speechless. I might have accidentally hit her with the mop just now. Miss, it's not the time to be so particular, is it? As soon as I finished speaking, my hand was pulled over by Sophia. Her delicate hand covered my rough one, meticulously wiping it clean with a disinfectant wipe. Bit by bit, your hands got dirty earlier. They need to be cleaned. I stared blankly at Sophia, unable to utter a word. Bullet comments. Woo woo, the little sister is so sweet. Even though she's dirtier herself, she still wipes the female supporting character's hands first. Actually, I think the female supporting character is pretty good too. She says she doesn't care, but her actions are honest. She rushed over to back up the female lead. Yeah, I'm even starting to ship the two of them. Come on, that's only because the male lead hasn't appeared yet. Once he shows up, the female supporting character will only focus on opposing the female lead. Exactly. Stop trying to defend the female supporting character's fans. A villain is a villain, and they can never be whitewashed in this lifetime. Reading the comments, I couldn't help but wonder. What does the male lead look like? What could make me go so crazy? I helped Sophia out of the restroom. Just as I turned the corner, I nearly bumped into a tall figure. The man was slender with well-defined brow bones, looking as if he had rushed over in a hurry. The moment I got a clear look at his face, the comments flooded the screen. All of them were shouting, male lead, male lead. So this is Sophia's fiancé, Frank. Seeing Sophia, Frank's anxious expression seemed to relax. His tone turned cold. I heard you got beaten up. Sophia nodded gently. Frank snorted coldly. I told you before not to dress so flashy for school, but you just wouldn't listen. I didn't, Sophia retorted softly. What do you mean you didn't? Otherwise, why would they pick on you and not someone else? That made my fists clench. Sophia just had reddened eyes and couldn't say anything in rebuttal. She had been oppressed for too long. Growing up in such an environment, it's no wonder that even as an adult, she tends to blame herself first when things go wrong. Bullet comments. Female lead. Don't be intimidated by the male lead. He may seem cold on the surface, but he actually has a secret crush on you. The moment he heard you were being bullied, he rushed over immediately. The male lead said this because he likes the female lead and is afraid others will notice her beauty and take her away. Who understands the male lead's stubbornness? It's so adorable. If I were the female lead, I would definitely listen to everything he says. I'm shocked by the values in the comments. Are these comments really made by humans? Without even the most basic respect, how can there be love? Frank was about to say something else. I punched him in the face directly. Frank stared at me in shock. How dare you hit me? I'm hitting you because the moment you opened your mouth, it was like spewing filth. Who do you think you are? Do you think everyone has to listen to you? Let me tell you. If you dare to boss Sophia around again, I'll hit you every time I see you. After saying that, I left with Sophia. Why is the plot different? Isn't the female antagonist supposed to try every trick to seduce the male lead? The female supporting character must be playing hard to get, using this method to attract the male lead's attention. I took Sophia to the infirmary, but the staff wasn't there. So I applied the medicine to her myself. After all, when I used to get beaten, I would also apply medicine to myself. While applying the medicine, Sophia kept stealing glances at me with her big eyes, looking as if she wanted to say something but hesitated. Just say whatever you want to say. I spoke directly. Sophia seemed to have finally mustered up her courage, took a deep breath, and said, Sister, am I really the white lotus and green tea they say I am? Yes, I nodded without hesitation. Hearing this, Sophia's expression visibly fell. The lotus symbolizes purity and beauty, rising unstained from the mud. Green tea represents youthful vitality. Doesn't that sound a lot like you? After saying this, I looked down at Sophia and noticed the girl was gazing at me with shining eyes. Really, am I that good? I somewhat awkwardly averted my gaze. Nodding, I began to educate her. If you ever face bullying, you must be brave and fight back. Even if you can't win, you should still fight back. Let them know that even if you lose 1,000, you'll make sure they lose 500. Only then will they know you're not to be trifled with and won't dare to bully you easily. One must always be able to stand on their own. Sophia listened carefully, word by word, and nodded emphatically. Sister, I understand. You're so kind. Am I kind? Am I really kind? Actually, I'm not doing well at all. I said all that just so she wouldn't bother me again in the future. Bullet comments. The supporting female character said it so well. I've long been fed up with those terms online that stigmatize women. Who understands the feeling of redemption at this moment? The world truly can't do without girls. Am I the only one who thinks the female lead just hit the male lead a bit rudely? Yes, you're the only one who thinks that. In the days that followed, I occasionally taught Sophia some self-defense techniques. After all, I know a little bit of martial arts myself, although it's an unorthodox approach. Sometimes the unconventional methods are the most effective. When you're at a disadvantage, you must accurately identify your opponent's weaknesses, such as the eyes or throat. Aim to strike with one hit. If it's a male, aim for the lower body. Women can also pull hair. During the demonstration, I occasionally accidentally grabbed Sophia's hair. The little girl wasn't afraid of pain at all and just grinned at me foolishly. She looked a bit like the little yellow dog I encountered in the village before. I wanted to teach her a lesson like I did with Wilson, to stop her from grinning so much. In the end, I couldn't bring myself to scold her. I thought Sophia would always remain this obedient and well-behaved. Unexpectedly, the first time she talked back to me was when I scored last in the class on the monthly exam. That day, Sophia came to me with a stack of study materials, looking quite annoyed, and announced that she would start tutoring me from then on. I slumped onto the desk right away. No need, right? My grades have been poor for a while now, but I'm still doing just fine, aren't I? Sophia immediately shoved the English workbook into my hands. It's different, sis. Didn't you tell me before that a person has to stand on their own 2 feet? In today's society, making money no longer relies on brute force, but on intelligence. Do you want to miss out on opportunities to get rich in the future because you lack the skills? Get rich? Sophia's words made me sit up straight immediately. That's right, once you're rich, you can buy a lot of gold. I'll learn right away. No one can stop me from studying, it has to be said. Sophia has some experience with persuasion up her sleeve. With just a few words, she made me willingly start studying. In the end, with her fully packed study schedule, I embarked on my own challenging journey of catching up. Frank would occasionally show up in front of Sophia to make his presence known, but now, Sophia either ignores him or snaps back at him. She directly made Frank's face turn green with anger. Even I have to admit, Sophia's words can be incredibly sharp at times. After finishing dinner in the evening, under Sophia's watchful eye, I immediately rushed off to study without a moment's delay. Suddenly, I remembered that I had forgotten my water bottle and was about to go back when, at the corner, I saw Grant stopping Sophia. Sophia, why haven't you been looking for your brother lately? If you have any grievances, you can tell your brother. Don't hide away and cry by yourself. Your brother will always be on your side. Sophia took a step back. I'm not wronged. My sister said that girls aren't crybabies and shouldn't cry over trivial matters. Grant's expression stiffened, and he stepped forward. But I'm your brother, the one person who will never abandon you, Sophia immediately retorted, pointing at the news channel in the living room. You're wrong, brother, the party and the country won't abandon me either. I couldn't help but chuckle. Grant froze in place, unsure of what to say. As Sophia had already turned and gone to the garden to exercise, meanwhile, the live comments were continuously praising Grant. Look at the male lead's possessive gaze. I'm already shipping them. Super possessive Yandra male lead and the incredibly oblivious female lead. This is absolutely top tier. It seems my destiny is to ship the most unconventional couples. The female lead has no idea that the male lead's rival calls her name every night. He's absolutely obsessed with her. I couldn't help but feel disgusted after reading this. Is this not sexual harassment? This kind of Yandra character is best left in fiction. Little Tiger bot document anti-piracy. Choose Little Tiger for bookfinding robot. Stable and reliable, no pitfalls. In reality, whoever encounters it will be scared. These barrage commenters would definitely run faster than anyone else. Just as I was carefully watching the barrage, Grant's expression began to gradually darken, clenching both fists. Watching Sophia's departing figure, I slowly spoke. Sophia, I will never let you leave me, you can only be mine. After Sophia's hellish tutoring, my mock exam results finally reached the middle of the grade. As a reward, Sophia gave me half a day off. I decided to go to the hospital to visit Wilson's mother. Aunt Chen's surgery was very successful, and she has now been transferred to a general ward. She asked me about my well-being, and her energy and spirit seemed much better than before. I went home feeling relieved and prepared to do another set of math practice papers tonight. tasting the sweetness of learning. I am now full of motivation, but when I opened the door, I found the living room pitch dark. There was no one in the house, not even the nanny. A bad feeling crept into my heart. The comments at this moment. The female lead was drugged and taken away by the second male lead. The supporting female character, go save her quickly. The second male lead's expression just now was so terrifying. Is he going to do something to harm the female lead? I was wrong. I'll never like any Yandra second male lead again. The second male lead took the female lead to his privately bought mountaintop villa. He's a complete madman. My heart skipped a beat from what the bullet comments said. Wasn't this plot supposed to happen after Sophia graduated from college? Could it be that Sophia's change prompted Grant to act earlier? Without a second thought, I immediately called the police based on the address mentioned in the bullet comments. Then, taking Wilson along, I called the driver and immediately headed up to the mountain top. On the way, I learned from the bullet comments that Grant had tied Sophia to the bed with chains. Surrounding them was an enclosed iron cage. The way Grant looked at Sophia was as if he were looking at a disobedient pet. The more Sophia struggled, the deeper his smile became. He told Sophia that this would be her home from now on. Whatever Sophia wanted, he would provide, but if Sophia tried to escape, he would sever the tendons in her hands and feet, ensuring she could never leave this bed. Fortunately, Grant's villa had keypad locks, and Donma knew the codes. We made our way through without any obstacles. When we reached the bedroom door, Wilson forced it open with a strong push. What came into view was Grant holding a knife, gently tracing it over Sophia's skin. About to lift the hem of her clothes. Damn it, beast! Wilson immediately pounced on Grant, knocking him to the ground, and the two began to wrestle fiercely. Having grown up fighting others, Wilson quickly gained the upper hand, pinning Grant to the ground and beating him mercilessly. I immediately took off my coat and draped it over Sophia. Holding her tightly in my arms, feeling the girl in my arms trembling, yet she still bravely bit her lip to hold back her tears, I pressed her head against my shoulder. Silly, just cry if you want to. Sophia seemed to finally let her guard down, reaching out to hold me tightly and crying out loud. I looked around the scene. The room was filled with photos of Grant and Sophia, some of which were intimate pictures that Grant had photoshopped. No wonder Sophia would have a mental breakdown in this room in the future and end up taking her own life. By the time the police arrived, Grant had already been beaten by Wilson until his face was covered in blood. We were all taken to the police station together. However, when giving his statement, Grant denied kidnapping Sophia, claiming instead that he was just taking his sister to see his new home. He kept coaxing Sophia with words, trying to break down her psychological defenses. Right? Little sister, hurry and help your brother explain. If the police misunderstand this matter, your brother won't be able to help you anymore. If your classmates at school find out, they'll only look down on you even more and bully you. That's not what you want to see, is it? Grant once again flashed his standard smile, but it no longer carried the warmth it once had, instead exuding an eerie and terrifying aura. Ignoring my attempts to stop her, Sophia slowly walked toward him. A flicker of delight crossed Grant's face as he hurried forward to meet her. The next second, Sophia lifted her foot and kicked hard at Grant's lower body. A crack sound was heard, as if something had shattered. This was followed by Grant's piercing scream. We were all stunned, and Sophia's firm voice rang in our ears. Officer, I have a recording that can prove Grant was indeed planning to kidnap me. It took the police officer a moment to process this. Then he immediately took Sophia's phone to retrieve the recording, which was filled with Grant's appalling remarks. Sophia turned to me with a smile and said, "Sis, did I kick accurately this time?" I silently gave her a thumbs up, not only accurate, but also ruthless. The police officers' faces turned pale as they watched. Bullet comments, the female lead kicked so well. The second male lead is truly disgusting. And he even dared to threaten her. He deserved to be kicked a few more times. Woo woo. Thank goodness the supporting female character arrived in time, otherwise, I can't even imagine what would have happened to the female lead. I declare that from now on, I will forever support the female lead and the female supporting character. If anyone dares to speak ill of them again, I will fight them to the end. This incident once again proves how important it is for a man to be emotionally stable. Grant was diagnosed with a mental illness and cannot be sentenced. He can only be confined in a mental institution for the rest of his life. upon learning that Grant had been confined to a mental institution. Mr. James was so enraged that he suffered a sudden stroke and was hospitalized. Mrs. James cried so much that she nearly lost her eyesight. As I stepped into Mr. James's hospital room, suddenly, a water cup was thrown and landed at my feet. "You bastard. Get your brother out of the mental hospital quickly, or else I won't let you off." Mr. James was stammering. I looked down at the mess on the floor and let out a cold laugh. Sure, if he gets out of the mental hospital, he might just end up in court. Is it a hospital room or a prison cell? You choose. Mr. James was so angry that his hands trembled as he pointed at me and yelled, "You're nothing but a jinx. I never should have brought you back." Before Mr. James could finish his sentence, I had already slapped him across the face. "How dare you hit me? I am your father, father." I looked coldly at Mr. James and sneered, "The DNA report you provided, it used the sample from when I sold blood at the age of 10, didn't it? You've known all along that I'm your daughter, but you only came looking for me now because you're aware of Grant's disgusting intentions, aren't you? You're afraid that one day he might lose control and harm Sophia, so you brought me back in advance to secure the alliance with the Green family. Just in case, right?" After hearing my words, Mr. and Mrs. James turned pale instantly. Mrs. James asked me in a trembling voice, How do you know these things?" Naturally, I wouldn't tell them that it was the bullet comments that informed me. "You don't need to worry about how I know, just understand that I'm the only one you can rely on now. The doctor said the old man's illness will keep him bedridden for the rest of his life. I will take full control of the company from now on, and before I graduate, I will hand it over to professional managers to manage. After you're discharged from the hospital, I will find you an average nursing home. If you want to live comfortably for the rest of your lives, behave yourselves and don't entertain any more foolish ideas." After saying this, I left without looking back. Behind me were the sounds of Mr. James continuously cursing and Mrs. James sobbing. I feel no ripple of emotion or guilt within me. These two are utterly unworthy of being parents. Even Grant became the person he is today under their increasingly harsh and almost perverse demands day by day. In the days that followed, Sophia and I devoted ourselves wholeheartedly to preparing for the college entrance exams. With a clear goal in mind, we worked even harder. Finally, after the last exam was over, Sophia raised her hands to the sky and shouted, "Freedom at last." At that moment, Frank emerged from somewhere. He looked at Sophia and expressed his desire to talk to her alone. "It means you want me to leave." I glanced at Sophia, and she agreed. I pretended to leave on the surface, but I was actually worried that Frank might do something extreme, just like Grant did, so I secretly hid in the bushes, wanting to see what Frank was planning to do, and Frank only apologized and confessed to Sophia in a very formal manner. "Sophia, I really like you. All those excessive things I did and said to you before were just to get your attention. Can you forgive me?" Sophia looked at Frank's face, a faint smile curling at the corner of her mouth. "Frank, you know what? I once had a dream where I really married you." In a single sentence, Frank's face lit up with surprise, thinking Sophia was about to agree to him. He couldn't help but smile. "But in the end, it was through your and Grant's constant belittling and denial that I developed depression, began to doubt myself, and ultimately met my death." Hearing this, Frank's expression changed. And he quickly explained, "No, I won't let that happen to you, really not." Sophia stared straight at Frank, as if trying to see through the truest nature of his heart. Frank grew less and less confident, eventually lowering his head, unable to refute firmly any longer. Sophia spoke up, "I have a feeling that if I were still the old Sophia, that would be my fate." Frank's eyes gradually reddened at the corners, his voice turning bitter. "But I'm already changing. I will love you well from now on and never make you sad again. Why can't you give me a chance? Because compared to being loved, I care more about my own feelings now." Sophia was not swayed by Frank's tears, her tone remaining calm. "Frank, in the past, due to my parents' oppressive style of parenting and my own personality, I never dared to express my truest feelings to anyone. I thought everything I said was wrong, but now, I can tell you with absolute certainty that I have never liked you. No one would like someone who constantly puts them down. The way you express your affection disgusts me. Please stop liking me from now on, being liked by you. I think it's a very unfortunate thing." After saying that, Sophia ignored Frank's pale expression, turned and left. Frank wanted to reach out and grab her, but caught nothing. In the end, he left in loneliness. I am very satisfied with Sophia's performance. Wilson suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Boss, isn't it a bit inappropriate for you to be eavesdropping here? I slapped the back of his head. What's it to you? Mind your own business. Lately, Sophia and I have been roasting the barrage comments so hard that they've become all pouty. And their attitude toward Frank has long since soured. Can the male lead just get lost? I'm so annoyed every time I see him. All I want now is to watch the story between the female lead and the supporting female character. Exactly, that trash man only slows down the female lead and the supporting female character's progress. It's so irritating just seeing him. Wait, is this even the same female lead I used to know? Where's my sweet, delicate, flower-like girl from before? Who says the female lead has to be delicate and soft? I think the current female lead is better, decisive, brave, with her own goals, and full of vibrant energy. Exactly, we women are not delicate little flowers, we are evergreen trees. Ah, the female supporting character touched the female lead's hand and even drank from the same water bottle as her. It seems straight women really know how to serve up the drama. Wait, is this right? After some time, the college entrance exam results were finally released. Sophia did very well, and her scores were hidden. In less than half a day, she received calls from several prestigious universities. Although I didn't do as well as Sophia, my results were still good. They were just enough to get me into a mid-tier 985 university. Eventually, Sophia chose the best medical school in the capital because of her passion for medicine. I enjoy making money. So I chose the finance department at a local 985 university. This will also make it easier for me to take over the James family's company after graduation. After we both finalized our college choices, one day, I woke up and found that I could no longer see the bullet comments. I don't know why they disappeared. Perhaps the appearance of the bullet comments was meant to save Sophia and me. Now that the mission is complete, they naturally vanished. The weather was very nice on the day I took Sophia to the airport. Sophia's eyes were swollen from crying, and she held on to me tightly, refusing to let go. Sis, I'll come back to see you as soon as I'm on break. You absolutely cannot forget me, even if I'm not here. You have to eat on time and sleep on time. Don't just make do because you're busy. That's really bad for your health. I pushed the person away in disgust, looking at the large wet patch on my chest, with a helpless expression. Finally, amid the constant boarding announcements from the airport speakers, Sophia reluctantly made her way to the gate. As if remembering something, Sophia immediately put down her luggage and ran back. What's wrong again? Before I could finish speaking, a gift box was shoved into my arms. Open it when you get back. After saying that, Sophia quickly ran back, waved at me from a distance, and then gradually disappeared into the boarding gate. In the car, I opened Sophia's gift box. Inside was unexpectedly an exquisite gold necklace. There was also a card that read, "Sis, I will earn more money in the future and buy you lots and lots of gold." Wilson, who was sitting next to me, looked at my face and exclaimed in surprise, "Boss, didn't you tell us we shouldn't cry so easily? Why are your eyes red now? Shut up if you don't want to die." 8 years later, today I just finished a high-level meeting. Feeling a bit tired, I casually took out a cigarette, lit it, and had just taken a puff. Sophia's voice came from the door. "Sis, I have something to tell you." Sophia pushed the door open, and before I could even throw away the cigarette, she caught me red-handed. "Sis, didn't I tell you, smoking is bad for your health? You promised me you wouldn't smoke anymore, so why are you still doing it behind my back?" I quickly threw the cigarette into the trash can and raised my hand to swear that I hadn't smoked in a long time. I was just too tired today. So I thought I'd take a puff. Sophia sat on the sofa angrily, refusing to look at me. I felt like a father caught doing something wrong by his daughter. I was already starting to regret it, thinking I shouldn't have sent her to medical school in the first place. Now, Sophia has to have a say in everything related to health. She's just like a bossy housekeeper, but the problem is, everything she says makes sense. And I can't come up with a single word to argue back. In the end, I could only change the subject. "You mentioned earlier that you had something to tell me." Speaking of this, Sophia's expression became a bit unnatural. Finally, she stammered it out. "What? You said you're in a relationship." I sprang to my feet in an instant. Sophia's face turned bright red. "Oh, hush, keep your voice down." I tried to calm myself and asked in a low voice, "Who is he?" "He's a senior from our lab. He's been very kind to me, often encouraging me and giving me strength when I feel lost and unsure. I feel like being with him makes me a better person." After saying that, Sophia immediately grabbed her bag and left. Sis, take your time to process this, I'm heading out now, and I'll bring him to have a meal with you when I have the time. Before leaving, she didn't forget to add, oh, and remember to stop smoking. I wanted to chase after her, but I bumped into a broad chest at the door. Wilson's magnetic and puzzled voice came from above. What's wrong? It was then that I realized Wilson had grown so much taller and bigger than me without me noticing. I glared at him irritably. What else could it be? Sophia is in a relationship. Hearing this, Wilson coughed awkwardly. Actually, it's normal for someone her age to be in a relationship. I gave him a suspicious look. You haven't taken a liking to someone in our company too, have you? After all, Wilson is now so outstanding that he doesn't need to stay by my side anymore. Ever since he cured his mother's illness, Wilson has been studying hard and was always a prominent figure at the university. Right after graduation, I received offers from several Fortune 500 companies, but he didn't accept any of them and directly joined my company. I didn't respond. My eyes fixed on Grant, instinctively shielding Sophia behind me. Transfer, thinking about it this way. It does seem suspicious. Wilson's ears instantly turned red, but he didn't deny it. I subconsciously took out a cigarette, but as soon as I lit it, Wilson snuffed it out. The man frowned. Anna, don't smoke. I was annoyed. What's wrong with you? You used to call me sister or boss, but now you dare to call me by my name directly. Hearing this, Wilson's ears turned even redder, with the redness threatening to spread to his face. Yet he couldn't help muttering under his breath. You're not that much older than me, either. Finally, as if mustering up all his courage, he seemed about to say something to me, but just as he called my name, my phone rang. What? There's an issue with the production chain. I'll head over right now. After hanging up the phone, I didn't bother to hear what Wilson had to say and quickly left with my things. Wilson looked at the documents on my desk and let out a bitter laugh. Forget it. There will be plenty of time. He turned around and quickly caught up with me. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. After finding my daughter who had been abducted by human traffickers for a month, I cried tears of joy, but when I looked up, I saw the bullet comments. The female lead baby is finally home. At this point, the female lead baby and the supporting female character still have a good relationship. Yeah, how could the female lead baby have known that the supporting female character, whom she once saved, would be adopted by bad people and turn out so twisted? Actually, the supporting female character is quite pitiful. Later on, she ends up with such a heartless adoptive father and mother, and on top of that, she has to endure school bullying and revenge from human traffickers. Just surviving is already incredibly difficult for her. I stared blankly at the timid little girl behind my daughter. The police said that shortly after she was abducted, her parents died while searching for her. That night, after thinking it over for a long time, I said to my husband, it must be a blessing from heaven that Nina can come home. Let's do a good deed and adopt a child. My husband respects my decision. Good, it's just the right time to find a companion for Nina. I didn't say yes or no, but I always felt that we should seek Nina's opinion on this matter. She has just been brought home, and this is a vulnerable time for her emotionally, so she needs her parents' company. Would adopting a child so abruptly upset her? With my mind full of thoughts, I walked into Nina's room. The little one was curled up under the covers, her big eyes darting around. Seeing me come in, she poked her little head out with a sweet smile. I want mommy to tell me a story. Seeing that my daughter was still as lively and cheerful as ever, I subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. Nina, do you remember the older sister who was standing behind you during the day? Mommy means Mount. Those bad people were very mean. Only Mount protected me. I hesitated for a moment. Then, would you like Sister Mount to be your sister? Nina nodded her little head eagerly. Yes, Sister Mount is my favorite sister. Nina wants Sister Mount to be her sister. I breathed a sigh of relief and patted the little girl's head. Good, go to sleep now. Tomorrow, Mom will take you to pick up your sister. I've been thinking about this all along. The next morning, I got up a little after 6 o'clock. Just as I was about to make breakfast, I saw Nina come out of her room fully dressed, carrying her Mount Duck backpack. Mom, let's go pick up my sister. I smiled helplessly and told her to eat breakfast first. I communicated with the police officer in charge to confirm the meeting location. Our family of 3 then set off for the welfare center. Along the way, the barrage seemed even more excited than I was. If the adoption is successful, the supporting female character's baby would have a good home. wake up, did you forget how the supporting female character treated the female lead in the middle and later parts? The female lead's mother is inviting a wolf into the house. But the supporting female character is just a child now, and she's still very innocent. The director of the welfare home brought Mount in front of us and strongly encouraged us to adopt her. Nina dumped everything out of Mount's duck-themed backpack. Inside were the snacks I had just bought for her last night. She gathered all the snacks and handed them to Mount. Mount shook his head, all the while sneaking glances at me. What a poor child. So young and already knows how to read people's expressions. I crouched down halfway, wanting to hold her hand. She instinctively flinched, took a few steps back. Her eyes filled with wariness. The director of the welfare center explained on her behalf. The police said this child was trafficked for over a year, so she might be more cautious than other children. But since Nina likes her so much, it shows the two of them have a good bond. It would be nice for them to be adopted together and keep each other company. I nodded and spoke softly. Mount, is it? Would you like to come home with Auntie? She bit her lip tightly, a hint of reluctance in her eyes, neither agreeing nor refusing. Miss Judy, we have other children here who are also looking for adoption. The director could see her unwillingness and had no choice but to turn to me to recommend other children. I felt a bit disappointed. Is it destined that I and this child are not meant to be together? In that case, I shouldn't force it. Just as I was about to stand up and politely decline the director's proposal, I just heard the little girl mumble a soft and then say, I'm willing. Her voice was as faint as a mosquito's buzz, yet I heard it clearly. Some comments said it was quite gentle, hoping I could guide the child well, but there were also comments expressing dissatisfaction. The female lead's mother is really something. How can she be so foolish? How dare she bring just anyone into the house? Does she even know what kind of disaster she's adopting? This woman will later compete with Nina for the male lead and end up causing the death of their entire family. She's really asking for trouble, but the female antagonist isn't born evil. The female lead's mother raised the female lead so well, so she must be able to raise the female antagonist properly too. The female antagonist is still so young. Why jump to conclusions? I was utterly shocked. What? My two daughters are going to fight over a man in the future? How can this be? My daughter absolutely cannot fight over such useless things. They are not worthy. Mount came home with us. I only know you're called Mount, but I don't know what your actual name is. I wanted to reach for Mount's hand, but she dodged away. She hid her hands behind her back, hesitating for a moment. Mount. The barrage has appeared again, alas. Although the female supporting character's parents had high hopes for her, they only had an elementary school education. The couple spent the whole night flipping through the dictionary to come up with such a simple and elegant name, but it really isn't suitable for a girl, especially since the female supporting character's grandmother kept sowing discord every day, saying that the mother didn't love her daughter. Which is why she gave her such an old and unpleasant name. She even urged the female supporting character to change her name to Hopeless, or Doggy. If the female supporting character hadn't been abducted, she would have probably changed her name long ago. I lowered my head and glanced at the little one, who was tightly clutching the hem of her clothes. She was secretly sizing me up. I pretended not to see. Little M. That's a lovely name. From now on, Mom will call you Little M, okay? Mount is a great name. Your parents must have hoped you'd be as awe-inspiring as a mountain, but Mom wants to call you Little M because you're still just a small hill, not quite a mount yet. She froze. I know it's still too early to ask her to call me Mom now, but I hope she can adapt as soon as possible. She is still young, and the hardships she faced too early have had a very negative impact on her. But it's okay. My daughter will be shaped by me personally. Come on, babies. Mommy has prepared new dresses for you. Let's take a bath first. Little Em avoided my hand, looking a bit uncomfortable. I can wash myself. The barrage is crying. Woo-woo. The supporting female character is still a good baby at this time, just a bit insecure. She was trafficked to a remote mountain area, accustomed to farm work, with dirt ingrained in her fingernails that couldn't be washed clean, which is why she always hid them and refused to show them to the female lead's mother. Before she was abducted, she was a fair and clean little girl at home. My eyes grew warm. Nina told me that when they were escaping and fell into a trap set by the villagers, it was little Em who jumped into the hole and dragged her out, breaking several fingernails in the process. Such a good child. And she's actually my daughter. What's a little mud? It's okay. It's only natural for a mother to bathe her daughter. Don't worry, even if you were little piglets rolling around in a manure pit. I'd still fish you out and clean you up. Nina was giggling because of me. I firmly picked up my two precious daughters and carried them into the bathroom. After placing Nina into the bathtub filled with warm water, I specially prepared a basin of water for little M to wash her hands. I carefully helped her pick out the dirt from under her fingernails. Her eyes sparkled, and her ears quietly turned red. Looking up, I saw the bullet comments again. The female lead's mom is so gentle. No wonder the female lead grew up to be so naive and sweet. But if the female antagonist's mindset gets corrected, the biggest villain in the entire book would be redeemed. What's the point of reading then? Dropping this story. The rivalry between sisters over the male lead is also quite interesting, don't you think? Hehe, what's the point of female rivalry stories? Strong female lead stories are the ones worth reading. I still pretended not to see the barrage of comments and took the cleaned and dried little girl out of the bathroom. Then I dressed them in pretty little dresses. After tidying up a bit, little M looks much cleaner and prettier. Feeling satisfied, I sent the two little ones back to their own rooms to sleep. Nina, however, clung to my leg and refused to let go, saying, "I want to sleep with mommy." I smiled helplessly and pulled her into my arms. "All right, mommy will tell you a story, little M. Don't you want to sleep with mommy? Mommy will tell you a story." She paused her breathing and cautiously glanced at Nina in my arms. "I want to go to sleep. I don't want to hear a story." The anticipation in her eyes was practically overflowing. What a child who says one thing but means another. I carried both children to Nina's bed. Without waiting for me to tell a story, Nina started chattering away. Little M just kept listening quietly. My husband sent a message urging me to go back to the room to sleep, along with a sad emoji. I laughed bitterly. I tucked the two little ones in again before tiptoeing out of their room. Early the next morning, before I even opened my eyes, I heard an argument breaking out in the living room. My husband also heard the noise and got up to handle it. He had been up too late yesterday and didn't want to wake me, but he couldn't handle Nina's crying, so he had to shake me awake. When I got to the living room, I realized I was needed to be the judge. It turned out that Nina was full of energy early in the morning and brought her favorite dress for little M to try on. Little M was afraid of damaging it and refused to wear it no matter what. Nina had to coax and act cute to persuade little M to agree. But little M was too tall, and while putting it on, she stretched the dress a bit, causing a seam to come loose. Nina has been spoiled by both me and her father. She immediately burst into tears and demanded that little M buy her a new dress. When I arrived, Nina was still sitting on the floor, holding her dress and crying. Little M was at a loss. "I didn't mean to, but I can help you sew it back on, but it won't look good if I sew it up. Boo-hoo, I don't want to wear a dress with patches." I sighed helplessly. Nina is perfect in every way, except for her obsession with floral dresses. She treasures every single one of them. And every time she does laundry, she crouches by the washing machine to supervise, afraid that the washing machine might damage her dresses. The one she is holding is her favorite. The fact that she could give the dress to little M proves that she genuinely likes little M, but she never expected her beloved dress to break so easily. The barrage of female protagonist fans are at it again. I already said the female supporting character is just plain evil. She's been so malicious since she was a child. Could she really not know her own height? And she insisted on wearing little M's dress. Maybe she deliberately tore it. Poor female protagonist baby has to live with this wicked girl. Can the female protagonist's mother use her brain a little? If this goes on, she'll end up getting hit by a car. The female supporting character didn't do it on purpose. She's still very kind-hearted now. She even said she'd help fix it. What more do you all want? Nina cried louder and louder. Little M's eyes were red, but she bit her lip, not daring to cry out loud. Without looking back, she rushed into the bathroom, picked up the dirty clothes she had worn when she arrived yesterday, and was about to change. Some viewers were delighted, while others were worried. The supporting female character has been bad since childhood. She wants to run away after doing something wrong. Really, sigh, even the hard-won happy life can't be held on to. Is it destined for her to be adopted by her original foster parents? I ignored the barrage of comments and stopped her. What are you trying to do? Little M looked up at me, her eyes already misty with tears. I'm sorry, Auntie, I'm a bad child. I don't deserve to be your daughter. I'll leave now. But I didn't mean to ruin Nina's clothes. I'll go out and collect trash right away. Once I've saved enough money from selling the trash, I'll buy an identical dress to return to Nina. As she spoke, She was about to kneel down to apologize to me. The barrage that was just celebrating a moment ago froze in shock. Just like me, this was the first time I had heard her say so much, but I never expected it to be like this. I frantically stopped her from kneeling down to apologize. Nina cried even harder, not even caring about her dress anymore. She rushed over and hugged little M. Mom, I don't want my sister to leave. I don't want the dress anymore. Please don't make her go. I was speechless. Who exactly is trying to make someone leave? Some people in the comments are still being stubborn. This doesn't change the fact that the female supporting character will bully the female lead's baby when she grows up. Maybe she's still pretending to be pitiful on purpose. Everyone, don't be fooled by her. She's just putting on an act and must be reluctant to really leave such a big house. Are you crazy? How could such a young child have so many schemes? Who said anything about driving the sister away? Nina, could you please stop making such a big deal out of things? I'm a bit helpless. You were the one who asked your sister to try it on, so you should be prepared for any accidents. Although she accidentally damaged it, didn't she apologize to you and offer to sew it back for you? Your sister is being tolerant of you, but don't you think you're being a bit unreasonable? Nina nodded, not fully understanding. I understand, Mom. She tugged at Nina's clothes on her own initiative, her tone pitiful. I'm sorry, sister. Nina knows she was wrong. Please don't go. Okay, I won't do this again. Little M hesitated for a long time, glanced at me again, and then softly said, crisis averted. I breathed a sigh of relief. Little M picked up the slightly frayed dress on her own and asked me for a needle and thread. To be honest, her needlework is even better than mine. The mended part of the seam shows no visible difference in the stitching. Nina happily twirled around in place, holding her dress. She kept praising her sister, saying how amazing she was, but I could see the guilt in little M's eyes. In the blink of an eye, summer vacation came to an end. It just so happened to be the start of the kindergarten term. Nina is 5 years old this year, while little M is already 7, however. Because little M had not attended school during the more than a year she was abducted, I was afraid she wouldn't be able to keep up, so I simply enrolled both sisters in the same grade to help them bond. I knew very well that after the incident with the mended dress, little M still held some resentment in her heart. Despite her young age, she carried herself with a maturity beyond her years. She never gave me any trouble and even helped take care of Nina. But her eyes always remained calm and unreadable. During this time, I gathered more information about the future from the scattered comments in the bullet chats. They say that in the future, my two daughters will become bitter enemies. Little M will stop at nothing to steal the male lead from the original story, then go on a rampage to take revenge on Nina, my husband, and I will also become her targets for protecting Nina. And she will even send someone to run over and kill us. Nina, on the other hand, will be imprisoned by her and slowly tortured, watching the little girl grow up day by day. I really don't want, nor do I hope, for her to become such an evil and wicked villain. Both girls have pretty good grades and have always been in the same class in elementary school. They got along peacefully for a few years. By the time they reached 5th grade, the bullet comments, which had been quiet for a long time, became active again. Here it comes, here it comes. Although the female supporting character was adopted, the plotline from the original story is still ongoing. I remember that, around this part, it was because the female supporting character had to collect homework, and the troublemakers hadn't finished theirs. She reported it to the teacher, and these troublemakers held a grudge against her. They bullied her throughout elementary school. And this is where the female supporting character's dark turn begins. The female supporting character really has a tragic fate. Even if she was adopted, she couldn't possibly have the same good fortune as the female lead. Is the story about to unfold? I'm actually a bit reluctant to see the end of the gentle, warm-hearted version of the female supporting character. I was utterly horrified. I immediately rushed to the school and was just about to enter the restroom. Then I saw Nina walking out with her head held high. As soon as she saw me, she dashed toward me. Mom, what are you doing here? Are you here to pick up my sister and me to go home? Behind her was little M with a slight smile at the corner of her lips, not looking like someone who had been bullied. Before I could even breathe a sigh of relief, Nina pulled me along without a word, heading outside. Mom, I'm starving. Let's hurry back for dinner. The barrage has appeared again. Wow, is this still my naive and sweet female lead? That Bob is so pitiful. Ha ha ha. His face is covered in manure. Ha ha ha. I declare, I'm going to support the sisters for a minute. This is so addictive. I look at Nina again, and she keeps urging me to go home, looking as guilty as a thief. Just as I was wondering what had actually happened, I smelled a foul, stinking odor. Not just me, all the students who came to use the restroom smelled it too, and everyone was covering their noses. It stinks so bad. What's that smell? Did the school's septic tank explode, then? I saw a drenched Bob walking out, covered in the stench of sewage. He was crying and looking for his mother. Behind him, 2 other children, a boy and a girl, followed, though they weren't as foul-smelling as he was, but the scattered patches of feces yellow on their bodies still made everyone keep their distance. Did they fall into a latrine? Someone raised a question. Nina couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Bob cried even louder, burying his head and running outside. I glanced at her sideways and pretty much guessed what was going on. At this point, some people in the comments even started shipping my 2 daughters. Are they lesbians? That's interesting. The other half of the bullet comments are calling them a cult, saying the female lead belongs to the male lead. I didn't think much of it and took the 2 little ones to eat pizza. Whether they like boys or girls in the future is their freedom, but even kids this young can ship couples. These commenters are truly wild. At night, Nina was talking animatedly with her father. She couldn't hold back and accidentally let it slip. That's when I found out the whole story, which was pretty much as I had guessed. Little M is the group leader in Bob's group and was responsible for collecting last night's homework. Bob didn't do it and threatened Nina not to tell the teacher. Nina immediately turned around and told the teacher that not only did Bob not do his homework, but he also threatened her. The teacher was also very responsible and severely criticized Bob's bad behavior in the classroom. Holding a grudge, Bob teamed up with 2 childhood friends to take little M to the restroom and beat him up, unexpectedly. Nina noticed their suspicious behavior and followed them. She grabbed the mop left by the cleaning lady next to the sink and rushed in, not forgetting to dip it in some golden liquid before swinging it directly at the kids' faces. The 2 children were more agile and dodged quickly, only getting a few splatters on their clothes. Only the chubby kid, with his larger size and lack of agility, got the mop pressed right into his face. The chubby kid was immediately nauseated, crying and vomiting at the same time. Nina spoke while laughing. Doubling over with amusement, I smiled helplessly and searched for nearby taekwondo institutions overnight. Although the first battle was successful, and I avoided school bullying, but in little M's situation, I won't feel at ease until she has the ability to protect herself. I packed both little ones into the taekwondo class, and it just so happened that the second one was half price. The next day, the school called the parents. It was Bob's mom, along with the parents of 2 other kids, who said my daughter was bullying. They demanded that I compensate them for their clothes. I immediately pushed my 2 daughters forward. Come on, sweethearts, tell this auntie what really happened yesterday, and also explain how you 2 little girls bullied those 3 little brats. Nina still loves wearing princess dresses just like when she was a child. She had a lollipop in her mouth and recounted yesterday's story once again. After finishing, she made a face at Bob. Calling your parents just because you can't win a fight. What a coward. Bob burst into tears again with a wah. Nina was amused and giggled. The 3 parents opposite turned green with anger. Bob's mother even raised her hand to slap my daughter. Little M raised her hand to stop me. I had already kicked the woman hard in the knee. The pointed high heels were indeed a beautiful weapon, making her grimace in pain. I sneered. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam is crooked. The young one is a coward, and the older one is even more useless. The principal was breaking out in a cold sweat on his forehead, trying to calm me down. I dropped a harsh line. Don't think just because you look like a pig you can get away with doing inhuman things. I've already educated my daughters. They won't bully others on their own, but I've sent them to learn martial arts. If anyone dares to mess with them in the future, even if they break an arm or a leg, our family can afford the compensation. After dropping those harsh words, I shot them a few more fierce glances before leaving. The whole way, Nina kept looking at me with sparkling eyes, saying how cool I was. After seeing them to the classroom door, I turned around to leave. Little M suddenly called out to me, "Thank you, Mom." This is the first time Little M has called me Mom. I couldn't hold back. My eyes welled up with tears. I hugged her tightly. And it wasn't until class was about to start that I reluctantly let go. The comments were all praising me as a good mom, wishing I could be their mom too, a little proud, but not too much. I have always been clear that a person's family of origin influences their entire life. My child came into this world to enjoy happiness. If I have the ability, I will work even harder to support them and shield them from hardships. I have no ability and will not hold them back. Nor will I blame my lack of effort on them. I don't want my daughter's life to be ruined because of an unhappy family background. After enrolling in the Taekwondo class, I realized how talented little M is. The coach always praises her as a promising talent in martial arts. In just 3 years, she has progressed from a white belt to a black belt. While it typically takes an average person 5 years to advance through the ranks, she achieved it in just 3 short years. On the other hand, Nina isn't very interested in martial arts. She just wants to be an elegant little princess, so I had to enroll her in a piano class. The days are as beautiful and peaceful as a gentle, flowing stream. In recent years, bullet comments have rarely appeared. Only occasionally do people say that it's quite nice to see our lives so serene and beautiful, but I still haven't let my guard down. So after little M got her black belt in Taekwondo, I immediately sent her to learn Sanda. To ensure she always has the ability to protect herself, I thought I had made all the necessary preparations, but no matter how much I planned, I never expected that little M's nightmare would reappear. They are already in their 2nd year of high school. Over the years, little M has gradually become much more cheerful under Nina's influence. She has also started calling me and my husband Mom and Dad. If it weren't brought up intentionally, I would hardly remember that little M is not our biological child. There are very few bullet comments. I almost thought we had reached the final chapter of the book and were going to live happily ever after, until Precious appeared, and the bullet comments started getting restless again. Here it is. Here it is. This is the female supporting character's nightmare. The year she was trafficked as a child. It was Precious's mother who bought her. This Precious is a lecher, at just 14. He would already grope female characters, peek at them while they bathed, and molest them. There was one time he almost succeeded. That bastard always held a grudge against the female character for sending his mother to prison. It took him 10 years to find her, and he forced himself on her in a narrow alley. It was the male lead who happened to pass by and called the police, saving her life. Since then, the female character's personality changed drastically, turning her into a great villain. No, the female character finally managed to live a happy life. Don't get involved with this drug dealer. No. Seeing the barrage of comments, I suddenly sat up and tore off the face mask I was wearing. Damn it, why reveal such important information only now? These bullet comments are so unreliable. The high school they attend is only 5 kilometers from home. I stepped on the accelerator and ran 5 red lights in a row in the city. When I arrived, panting and out of breath, I saw that little M's pupils had already begun to dilate. Logically, she shouldn't have been here, but that bastard Precious had been threatening little M, saying that if she dared not come out to see him, he would go to her school and spread the word that she was his child bride and that he had touched her. He wants to ruin little M's reputation. As a result, after little M showed up, he drugged little M and prepared to assault her. Even if little M had all the skills in the world, she couldn't fight off the effects of the drug. Before she fell completely unconscious, she saw my figure and called out, "Mom!" That heart-wrenching cry shattered my heart. I grabbed a red brick from the roadside and charged at that bastard, blinded by rage. I only wanted to smash him to death with the brick. That little bastard saw me and didn't panic at all. He whistled at me like a hooligan. "Hey, not bad looking, just a bit older, but age gives you more charm. Come on, let's hang out together." As he spoke, he unbuckled his belt. He thought I didn't notice the knockout drug he casually pulled out of his pocket. "I'm here to save my daughter, not to get myself killed." I stood still about 3 meters away from him and waved my arms vigorously a few times. The brick traced a graceful arc through the air and landed squarely on his damn head. What a coincidence. I used to practice shot put in college. He crouched on the ground, holding his head, which was bleeding and bruised. Seizing the opportunity, I rushed forward and sprayed pepper spray forcefully into his eyes and wounds. Hearing his heart-wrenching screams, I still felt unsatisfied. Before the police arrived, I kicked him several more times with all my might. I was wearing studded high heels today, and I aimed for his family jewels. He didn't know whether to cover his head or his butt. Grimacing and begging for mercy, the barrage of comments flashed wildly. "Mommy, such great skills. Mommy, you are my goddess. Mommy, look at me, I'm your 3rd daughter." The barrage witnessed little M's transformation, realizing that she was just a little girl who needed proper guidance and was no longer the ruthless supporting character from the original story. People rarely cursed little M with malicious words anymore. No one cared about the male lead who rode his bicycle past me. The male lead glanced at Precious, who was rolling on the ground clutching his crotch, then looked at me, who had taken off my high heels and was about to carry the child back to the car. "Auntie, what are you doing?" Only then did I notice him. He looked fair and clean, with a scholarly air, but I could tell his eyes were scanning me, as if trying to guess whether the designer clothes I was wearing were real or fake. Until his gaze fell on my Land Rover parked at the entrance of the alley, his eyes lit up. "Auntie, do you need me to call the police for you?" I thought he must be some exceptionally talented person to have my two daughters fighting over him. The male lead, a hypocrite. "No need, I've already reported it." I didn't even glance at him, holding my daughter as I walked past him and got back into the car. I took my unconscious daughter to the hospital. It wasn't until it was confirmed that she was only drugged and there was no other danger, I finally felt completely at ease. Only now do I have a moment to glance at the bullet comments. Indeed, a man's greatest charm lies in my imagination. Before seeing the male lead, I thought he must be incredibly handsome, but now that I've seen him, he's not even as good-looking as my mommy. The illusion is shattered. I just noticed the male lead checking out the Land Rover several times before offering to call the police. He's so calculating. Upstairs, what's wrong with checking out the Land Rover? If I saw it, I'd be even more envious. Mom, can I get a ride in the Land Rover too? I faintly curled the corners of my lips. After all the love and conflict we've been through, I actually feel a bit nostalgic seeing these comments. Thanks to them, I was able to save my daughter in time. I lay on another empty hospital bed in the ward for a long time. Little Em slowly opened her eyes. "Mom, As soon as she spoke, tears began to fall. "I'm scared." My heart ached terribly, and I immediately got up and held her in my arms. Don't be afraid. With Mom here, I'll make sure he rots in prison and never gets another chance to hurt you." Little Em cried herself to sleep again. My heart ached for her, but I also let out a long sigh of relief, according to the comments. Little Em turned into a villainess after being violated, with the last trace of her goodness completely devoured, so this should be her final ordeal. Once she safely gets through this, my little Em will never be in danger again. After learning about little Em's ordeal, Nina cried until her eyes were red. She insisted on accompanying her sister to and from school every day, no matter what. She even grabbed a knife and was about to go kill that thug. I stopped my furious daughter. "Don't be ridiculous. Put the knife down." She looked aggrieved. "Didn't you say we could afford to pay if he got disabled?" "Don't worry, I won't kill him. I'll just chop off his 3 legs. I sighed helplessly, rubbing my forehead. "That's my daughter for you. Do you think it's your turn to handle this?" "Don't worry, that little scumbag was dealing drugs. The police found a lot of narcotics in his house, and he has already been sentenced to death. Just waiting for the execution." This is all thanks to the reminder from the bullet comments. I just reported to the police that he seemed disoriented and dazed, as if he was on drugs. Our country's anti-drug efforts are extremely strong. It took less than an hour to find the drugs in his house. The daughter then breathed a sigh of relief and went to pester her sister again. After resting at home for a few days, little Em returned to school. This time, she had completely resolved her inner turmoil. But the elderly mother grew even more worried. "The male lead has appeared. That guy looks very cunning at first glance. What if he sets his sights on my daughter? One of them is a naive and sweet girl who only wants to be a princess, while the other is a martial arts fanatic. To prevent that brat from having his eyes on my daughter, I personally pick her up and drop her off at school every day. During the day, I wait at the cafe next to the school, keeping a close watch. This is driving me crazy as a mother. I can't wait to drag that brat out and give him a good lesson, making sure he stays far away from my daughters." The days passed by with such anxiety that I began to lose sleep at night. No, I can no longer just wait for things to happen. I was stuck in a cycle of habitual thinking, constantly worrying and fearing that my daughter might not be cautious enough and could be deceived by bad people. But I can't keep them under my watch all the time. I should tell them about the dark side of society they haven't encountered, so they won't easily trust malicious people. So, I called them into the study. "Sweethearts, have you met any boys you like at school?" The daughters looked at each other, exchanged a glance, and then shook their heads in unison. Nina pouted in dissatisfaction. "Mom, the boys at school are so smelly. All they do is play ball and they never shower, and they're always yelling like gorillas every day. I don't like them at all." Little Em nodded in agreement. "I know my daughter well. I never scold or hit them, and they are willing to share things with me without hiding anything. I breathed a sigh of relief and continued, if a boy helps you, saves you, and treats you well, would you fall for him? Nina looked exasperated. Mom, real life isn't a novel. Where would all these heroic rescues come from? Besides, liking someone isn't about repaying a favor. Why should I fall for him just because he helped or saved me? If that's the case, I should like my sister the most. She was the one who saved me in the first place. There will never be another man in this world who treats me as well as my sister does. Before she could finish speaking, the two sisters were already immersed in their deep sisterly bond again. That's fine too. Even if my daughter is a lesbian, the money her father and I have earned is enough for them to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. It's still better than being deceived by some wild men out there. Things have developed to this point, and the barrage comments are no longer so focused on the male lead. More and more people are shipping the sister duo. I don't know whether to be happy or worried. The male lead has finally taken some action. He inquired privately for a long time before finally finding little M. He frequently showed affection by bringing breakfast, but little M rejected him every time. But this annoying guy still wouldn't give up. Somehow, he found a few thugs and paid them to put on an act. The thugs cornered little M in a blind spot of the surveillance cameras, spewing vulgar remarks. Hey, this chick is quite pretty, and she's got a big butt. Take good care of us, hee hee, as they spoke. They backed little M into a corner, intending to grope her. At the critical moment, the male lead descended from above. After driving those boys away, he turned and looked at little M with deep affection. Don't be afraid, I'll protect you. I know you were defiled by that man last time, but it's okay. What I like is not your body, but your soul. It seems caring, but subconsciously reveals a threat. He is implying that he already knows little M was defiled, and he could reveal it at any time. But he hasn't. Instead, he remains infatuated and persistently pursues her, a woman who has been defiled. He must think he's being incredibly charming, and that no woman could resist his appeal. When little M imitated the way he spoke, she rolled her eyes so hard they nearly went to the back of her head. The three of us, mother and daughters, laughed so hard we were shaking with mirth. My husband looked at us with adoration and brought over a plate of washed fruit, asking, so, how did little M respond to him? Little M let out a light laugh. I warned him to stay away from me and even made him call over those thugs. At first, he refused, so I threatened to call the police. Then he called those thugs over, and I made them line up one by one before giving them a good beating. Before leaving, I even asked him if he had a cuckolding fetish, if he fell in love with me because he thought I was tainted, and if that's the case, did he love me even more after I beat him up? Her husband spat out his water and coughed for a long time. Where on earth did you learn all this nonsense? Little M stuck out her tongue, grabbed her sister, and fled back to their room. After closing the door, I could still hear the cheerful laughter of the two sisters coming from the room. Nina is 18 years old. We held a coming-of-age ceremony for her, on par with little M's. I firmly believe in the saying, if children are not harmonious, it is due to the lack of virtue in the elderly. So all these years, I've always treated everyone fairly. Indeed, my daughters are all obedient and sensible, and their relationship is getting better and better. As the hotel staff wheeled out a cake over a meter tall, little M also stepped out. She was also holding a pink princess dress in her arms. This one is exactly the same as the dress she accidentally stretched the seam of back then. Of course, this one is a larger size. She said that all these years, she has felt guilty about ruining her sister's dress, and her sister even cried and wouldn't let her leave. She saved up all the pocket money we gave her over the years and had a new one custom-made as a coming-of-age gift for her sister. She hopes that no matter what the future holds, even in their old age, whenever the two sisters see this dress, they can recall the beautiful memories of the past. I hugged my husband and cried my eyes out. Indeed, no one is born to be a malicious supporting character. My daughter is the best child. Extra chapter. Since that time I successfully saved little M, I have never seen the barrage comments again. Perhaps because I changed the plot, the original storyline collapsed, so they didn't see what happened later. But perhaps that's for the best. Even if we are just characters in a book, we should live our own lives, not be judged by others. Whether it's little M or Nina, they are the protagonists of their own lives, not supporting characters for anyone else. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.